Hello, Zimbabwe football fans. Welcome to another exciting episode of In Touch with the Legend. Yes, your favorite footballing show where we bring you a Zimbabwe footballing legend to come and share with us their footballing journey. They might be footballers, they might be former referees, they might be former administrators, they might be former broadcasters. We all have them here as our football legend. Also, former reporters and journalists as well. All of them, they are part of our football story. And here today we have got a journalist, former broadcaster, not broadcaster. Let me correct this. Former radio commentator, former football commentator. Talking about my faster. Former football commentator. What is this, guys? I'm so curious. What are we talking about? Yes, this show proudly powered by Nyaradzo Group Sawira Mukuru. We've got Stanley Katsande in the studio. A gentleman who needs no introduction, but we will introduce anyway. Stan, thank you very much for coming to the show. Yeah, footballers, reporters, referee, Wilfred Mkuna as a former referee, and also Tendai Bwanya, he was also here. But now you are the first guy from the broadcasting side of football.
Okay.
Former commentator, please say hello to the viewers.
Hello viewers, it's good to be here. Certainly it's been a long time since we faced each other. I'll be telling you my story today. It's going to be a long one. Be patient. Stay with us.
Yeah, we want to hear the story. And as always, we want to know where it all started, where you were born. Where were you born?
I was born in Mutoko, 63 years ago now. And
you look 50.
Thank you for that.
Look 50.
I'll take that as a compliment. But it's been 63 years now.
Oh.
And I was educated at Muswaire School in Mutoko. This is a
you
place.
Born in Mutoko?
I was born in Mutoko.
Wow.
Yeah, and educated. My primary education started at Muswaire School. Then, we did grade 1 up to 5. Then I moved from there and went further down towards Mudzi, a place called Tsakar or Nakiwa.
Why did you guys move?
I grew up from my mother's side. So my uncles, Anasekuru, would take turns in looking after us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a bed of roses growing up that early. But I still look back and thank them for doing what they did.
For you, yeah.
They managed to keep me in school. So I went further down to Chingwena. That's where I continued with my primary education. And then after grade 7, that's when I came to Harare. But during that time, yes, I played soccer. I used to play soccer. As a little boy, we used to come to Harare every holiday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we used to come to Harare.
Holiday.
Yes. Exactly. We would say we close today, and I knew, without fail, the next day we'll be coming to Harare. And then, of course, before the term starts, we'll be back again to, carry on. But talking about my football, I used to play. I think when I was in grade 5, that's when I started playing. I remember when I was in grade 5, one of our goalkeepers got injured. And then they needed a replacement, and I was on the bench. Then the teachers just decided that I should come and be the goalie. When the first goalkeeper got injured, the teams were still 0-0. Yeah. And then I came in, and then the team that we were playing against really bombarded me, but I stood up.
You stood your ground?
I stood my ground.
But you were not a goalkeeper?
I was not a goalkeeper. Never been a goalkeeper.
So why did they pick you to be a goalkeeper?
I remember one of the teachers saying, look, he's the only one who watches football at a higher level because he goes to town he goes to town every time, and when he comes back we talk about football. He mentions the players like Posanis Banda, Bruce Krobela and others.
Yes.
So he should have an idea. And sure enough, that's exactly what I was following.
No. But where did you get the names? Where did you come? Where did you come to here in Harare? Which area?
This is Highfield.
Oh, you were going to Highfield.
I was growing.
Did you go to the stadium, to Gwanzura Stadium?
Yes, Gwanzura Stadium, and I can confess now that every Sunday we used to sneak into Gwanzura Stadium.
How?
There was a big tree on the Zimbabwe ground side that was very close to the Juro.
To the Juro,
yes. Now we used to use that one.
You used to climb
I would climb into the tree, stay there, look for Mr. Huna. If he's nowhere near.
Who is Mr. Huna?
Mr. Huna was the caretaker. He was the caretaker.
Okay,
me and my friends would jump in. And then if he catches us, we'll then promise him to say, look, after the match, we're not going to go out. We'll help you pick all the stuff that people live. Yes. Then from that day, we struck a deal.
Yeah. I was about to ask as well. Why didn't you just get into a deal or something?
We struck a deal.
Yeah.
He then used to say, very early, on Sundays, we would go to Gwanzura Stadium. He would open the gate for us. We go to his house, stay there for a while. When the match is about to start, we will then come and join.
Oh, yes.
Because we'll be like part of his family.
Oh, because he didn't want the cashiers and the clubs to know that they were coming in for free. But how old were you then?
I would say 10, 12, thereabout.
But so that rule of allowing kids under 12 at that time?
Well, it was there, but it wasn't strictly applied. It all depended on who was by the gate.
Oh, yeah.
If he allows in 2-3 people, that's it.
Because I remember, when I was younger, I used to go with my brother.
Yeah.
I would get in first. I would get in, then he would go into the queue to pay.
Yeah, sometimes they would accept, but if you're not lucky enough, they wouldn't allow you in.
A big body. He's 12 years.
Maybe I was a bit too tall because when they compared me to my age mates, I was a bit tall.
Oh, okay.
So I used to have problems. So when
you started getting in.
We started getting in for free. It's only the problem came when the matches were taking place at Rufaro Stadium. That's when there was no deal there. There was no deal there. You'd have to go in. There was this huge burly guy who used to work for the city council. He would move around with a motorcycle, and that guy was bad news.
Rufaro Stadium?
Yeah.
I don't
know. Because he would go around and carrying his shambok. So if you're not careful, he would land it on you. So we used to keep our distance.
Waiting for an opportunity.
Yes, we would wait. If he looks the other way, then sneak in. Or most of the adults, they would try to get in drinking beer. And then the security guys would stop them. And then the seniors would have no choice but to give us the empties. Then we'll quickly go to the bottle store. So you get your 10, 30 cents, come back, and then you get in.
Wow.
This was when I was in primary.
You loved football.
I loved this that much. I would walk all the way from Highfield
to Rufaro Stadium.
Just to get in there and watch. I was telling my kids how I used to walk along Beatrice Road all the way until I got to Rufaro Stadium. Wow. And then during that time, when we came to Harare, we would then live with my mom's sister.
Okay.
Yes. My mother had a sister and a brother who had with houses in Egypt.
Okay.
So especially when I'm staying with my aunt, she then felt, no, I must help this boy. He loves his football. Let him go. Yeah. And then he started making fun of me. When the television started bringing me the people who were at the stadium, some would have their shirts off, waving them like that, and she would scream and say, "Did you see him? That's him without a shirt." So, I then find that, look, it was nice because my parent was accepting it. So we used to,
You remember any of the teams that you used to go and watch?
Oh, yes. The Rufaro Rovers, Metal Box, Dynamos, Black Aces, it was known as Chibuku Shumba, Highlanders. Highlanders were still known as Matabeleland Highlanders.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was Mashonaland United, which was Zimbabwe Saints.
Yes.
Yeah, then...
they used to come to Gwanzura Stadium.
They used to come to Gwanzura
used to watch
Stadium.
all of those.
Yeah, to play Chibuku Shumba, because that was the home ground for Chibuku Shumba and Dynamos.
Oh, Dynamo Sessions are Gwanzura.
Yes, they used Dynamo. They used Gwanzura for a while before Rufaro was completed.
Oh.
Then after that they moved.
Yes. Before Rufaro Stadium.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Rufaro Stadium. I think I was now in Form 1.
Is it?
Yeah, that's when it started operating, because you know the reason why they called that other end Vietnam is because during that time the Americans were fighting a war in Vietnam.
Okay. Yes, I remember.
So every day the news was, look, Cambodia has fallen, this Vietnam, this and that, and so forth. So people took to, that rhetoric and started, the name was then given. I don't quite remember who.
Who's going with the noises there? Who's going with the noises?
If you didn't support Dynamos and you are in the stands, they would throw you down the stairs.
Yes.
So it was like a war zone.
It was like a culture.
Exactly, it was.
I think it still exists even today.
Yeah, but it's just that maybe, the team has fallen on hard times. The following has also dwindled. People are staying at home. But once...
I used to see people being thrown down. If you are up there, when you support them with team,
exactly. They didn't want opponents in that area. Yeah, so it ended up being called Vietnam. If we were talking about it, you'd say the Vietnam end. It's all because of what was happening during that time.
Which team did you support back then?
Back then, I was a Chibuku Shumba, supporter, Black Aces, naturally, because they are the owner because he had trained in Zimbabwe grounds. Of course. Of course, we would see another Sunday Marimo starting off the likes of...
Sunday was playing for Shumba?
Yeah, he played for Chibuku Shumba before joining Dynamos.
Wow.
Yeah, one Dutch Setera, Bernard Kwana and his brothers.
I know Bernard Kwana.
Yes. They used to play for Chibuku Shumba. And then we would also join in.
Bernard Kwana is my brother. We communicate a lot on Facebook, but I never got to watch him play. How good was he?
He was brilliant. I mean,
which position did he play?
He was a left winger.
Is it?
Yeah, he was a left winger. He would go past players like they never existed.
Wow.
Once he starts his run, you'd really have a problem.
Is it?
Yeah, we would start celebrating the moment he beats one, and when the next one is coming, we knew that he was going to get past him and score.
You see, that's the problem we have in Zimbabwe, that we don't have this history. There are a lot of legends that we should be giving much more respect than we do right now. If you tell anybody about Bernard Kwana today, not a lot of people
will be surprised. What does he do?
About. And here you are, you're telling us that he was this brilliant player
playing
Chibuku Shumba with players like Sandy Chitsambwe.
Even Simon Mzuzu.
Yes, I remember.
Fresh Chamarenga.
The goalkeeper?
No.
Fresh Chamarenga
he was a right. He was a right back.
Oh, Musa Mzanenam was the keeper.
Yes, Mzanenam was playing for Zimbabwe Saints. Yeah. Buka Mchenu was the Black Ace, the Chibuku Shumba goalkeeper.
Is it?
Yeah.
I remember when we were still very young, when my brothers were so into Musa Mzanenam. So everyone in the street, goalkeeper,
how good was he? Musa was very good, and he was very clever.
I never watched him, but he was popular in the street.
Yeah, it was very difficult to beat him, especially to take a shot from outside the box.
Yeah.
You couldn't score. He was that good. He had that positional discipline of knowing where to be. When a player has got possession, he would take the right position. Yeah. It was very difficult. And he also knew how to wind down time. Gamesmanship. Gamesmanship with Musa Mzanenam. I think Musa Mzanenam was even worse. They all took a leaf from Musa Mzanenam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he would, because back then you were allowed to pick the ball, handle it, roll it down, dribble a bit to the edge of the area, pick it up again. And that's what he would do.
Would roll it to the defender and he passes it back to you again.
He would collect,
and collect it again.
So, yeah.
And also it going to brain
especially when Zimbabwe says Mashonaland United was leading 1-0 with Musa Mzanenamo in goal. Then you know that it's game over. It's game over. It would be exciting if they were losing.
Yeah.
That's fine, because most goalkeepers didn't like the idea of delaying tactics.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. You see that we needed all this history.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are doing it now.
Exactly.
we are actually doing it now, and we are bringing back the memories. Those that are watching that know these players, they remember that. So we're actually doing it right now with this show. Thanks to Nyarazo Group for helping us bring this show back, because this is actually the idea. We want to document our football history, put it together so that people that are growing up, they actually grow up knowing how football was, where it was, and you know what, history also helps with the development of football as well. So you went to goalkeeper.
Yeah, when I was playing as a goalkeeper.
Yeah, no,
I didn't goalkeeper. Then the following week we then played another team that was in. I remember the name, but it was down in Area C there. And the first choice goalkeeper was still injured. So I had to play. And again, you know, I was so outstanding.
Yeah.
It ended up goalless. And the teachers were so happy and so forth. And then they made me the first choice goalkeeper. But I didn't like playing as a goalkeeper.
You wanted to play?
I always wanted to play up front, you know, play as a right winger. We used to see the likes of George Shire operating from the right-hand side. Yes, you'd say I'm like George Shire, always, you know, cutting in from the right side, beating defenders. So I kept on pressurizing the teachers until when the goalkeeper came back, they allowed him back into his place, and then I started playing, you know, upfield as a winger. Yeah, we'll try. I wasn't that talented. I tried.
Yes.
But I think my football was more in my head than the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. But one thing that I am happy about is that when it came to training, I never stopped. Yes, I will always be doing something, running to make sure that.
That's why you're looking 45 when you are 63. I can see that there's a work ethic that is going on right there.
Yeah, I enjoyed you know, just training. Maybe it's because that's when I got to play full matches.
Yes.
Because they would allow me to play on the B side. The A side will be.
Sometimes it helps. Fitness work rate enough form.
And you know,
we wouldn't form a work rate.
Exactly.
Fit and you work hard for the team.
And there was one player who actually, you know, proved this point that you may not be very talented, but if you train, you will make it.
Exactly.
And that is, he played for Cape United. That's Clever. He used to stay in Mavuku.
Clever
Mzua.
Yeah,
Clever Mzua trained like nobody's business.
Really?
In Zimbabwe grounds. Okay. He would train. Yes. Caps then the advantage was that players like Sheikh Mentauro, you know, I was then in Form 1. Sheikh Mentauro was at Highfield Secondary School. I was at Mukai.
Oh, okay.
So we knew each other very well.
Oh, yeah.
And then Isuzu, we had the likes of Charles Mapila and Ronnie Kwenda. There was Charles Tembedza, who also played for Black Aces and so forth. So we would come to Zimbabwe grounds, watch these players train. Everybody, after training, they'll all leave, but Clever Mzua would stay.
Clever Mzua.
Yes. Running up and down. Running up and... He wasn't talented, but because of the hard work he put into what he does, he was always in the team, and he would always deliver.
So you decided to be that guy.
Yeah, I said, look, I'm not talented, but this guy is equally not talented, and he's playing.
Yeah.
So that's what I copied, and I'll do it.
We just gonna go for a break. When we come back, we wanna carry on. But where did you go from? I guess you played until grade 7, then you went to high school. So we wanna know, where did you go from primary school? Yes, guys, we've got Stanley Katsande in the studio, the veteran broadcaster. Yes, he used to be a football commentator on our ZBC Radio 1. For those that he used to, unfortunately, we don't have radio commentary these days. You guys, we are missing out a lot. In the era, I don't know the young Ama 2000. Radio. We grew up in that era where we had Stanley Katsande, we had Evans Mambara and Charles Mabika. They were for Radio 1. Then Radio 2, Ezra Chisa Spanda, Eric Knight. Yes, Eric Knight. What was his name?
Gavure.
Yeah, yes, Gavure. Yes.
But I liked Nisbet Nasasar.
Yes,
that was my hero.
Exactly. You guys are missing out because it was like wow. That's why Charles Mabika as well is very popular.
It's because of radio.
Because of that radio commentary, but he refused to make a comeback. Mr. Stanley Katsande refused to make a comeback. They don't want. We need to groom some more. We need to groom the younger ones. I think we just gonna go for a break. When we come back, we carry on with Stanley Katsande. Welcome back in touch with the legend. Yes, we are live on Zim SoccerNet. If you are just joining us, we've got Stanley Katsande in the studio. We finished segment 1 and we're going to segment 2. But before we do that, we just want to remind you guys to go to our Facebook page and like our page. Also go to our YouTube channel, Zim SoccerNet, and like our YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel as well, so that we can always interact with you whenever we have got some features that we do have on those platforms. But back to the studio. It's good time. So Maroa grade 7. I'm still goalkeeper.
No, I'm still goalkeeper. I'm now.
Then after grade 7, where did you
I then came to Harare, and I was at Mukai High School. Yeah, with for my Form 1. So during Form 1, yes, I would play.
You came to stay with your aunt as well?
Yeah, I came to stay with my aunt.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's in Egypt. My short lines are.
Okay.
That's right. So I was staying there. We played football at Mukai High School.
Which year was this?
This was 1974. That's when that's when I did my Form 1.
Before I was born?
Yeah. Long before you were born, but here we are together.
Yeah, imagine life. That's what life.
That's the beauty of life.
That's the beauty of life. Yeah.
And I would like to thank the Lord for giving us a long life, so that we are able to see all these things.
Yes.
So I continued playing, and then I joined a team in Zimbabwe grounds. Yeah. I found there was Lusaka Hotspurs, and then there was also Murewa. I played for those.
Murewa in Highfield?
Yeah, in Highfield. Yeah, Nelson Matongorere.
Is it?
Yes.
Dara
Nelson Matongorere. He had a team called Murewa.
Yake.
1974. Yeah.
Achikocha.
He was also playing.
1974.
Yes.
Matongora
was coaching and playing.
Any team. Today he's still
coaching. Hey. So if you look at his journey in mind, I'm only starting. Matongora is way out of sight.
You know, to be honest, I know that is watching. That knows us all. That I am good over now. I don't understand that. Good over now. Yes, in our hands of Banana, the things of Banana, yes, in our hands of Dharma. Too good over now. She go over now because I'm confused, man. Yes, couldn't confuse us. Curiosity. I just want to hear your story. I want to hear. Could 1974 Dharma team with coach? My juniors, my mother. I want to understand you. I want to look at you and really understand you. I want to understand you because it's very non place. There's Rory, I want to understand you.
Yeah, then that's when I started, playing at a higher level. Yeah. For Lusaka Hotspurs. Yeah, against Matongore and the others. Yeah, until even Nana Henry Chari, he started off from Zimbabwe grounds.
Henry Chari 74?
No, not 74. I think it was later. Yeah, he's much younger. But those are some of the players, notable players who managed to come through. Yeah, and then we had teams like Grillbro. They used to make school furniture, and they had a very good team at Zimbabwe grounds. So the place would fill up, and the crowds, you won't believe it. Yes, the people knew. Okay, it's Grillbro versus Harare Hospital. Yeah. Then you know that it's an epic battle. Sometimes people would be... They're the team.
I remember one player who played for Harare Hospital, I think is Jafet. Jafet Mparutsa.
Okay,
I think I remember him telling me something like that.
Yeah, but because, he didn't have a name at that time, he would just, come and pass without us noticing. I don't quite remember Jafet, but
I think
that was much later. Yeah, much later. Yeah, because
senior team.
Younger senior team, but of course at amateur level. We would play only during weekends. During the week, we back to school. Training also would do it at Zimbabwe grounds, and that's where I got, I got the hang of training every time.
Hold on, my training my team I trained after Zimbabwe grounds.
Yeah, I trained on Zimbabwe grounds. But at that time they had moved. Cape Side trained Zimbabwe grounds as well as Black Aces. Then when they moved, Black Aces I think started using St. Peter's. Then Cape United, I think we got to rent some, some sports clubs in the low density suburbs. Because they were now being backed by their sponsor, so things were a bit stable for them. But Dynamos were training at Rufaro Stadium, where in the car park. That's where they used to train. There was no loan. If you wanted to see who has joined Dynamos, you had to walk all the way from Highfield, come and watch them train.
I don't understand Harare, honestly, because my ground high, my community,
yeah, maybe
even I don't know loan. But why what do you think?
Exactly.
You can tell us, do you understand why the problem?
I can't quite put my finger on why, but I can only assume that it's overuse. Because there are so many teams in Harare.
Saka makambodhira madyarwa alone remember.
Kumchikapa ke? Not quite, because most people would play kuma grounds where there is Mpedza Namo now.
Ye ugoguno kusadafa.
Kusadafa kuyo.
But amunobodhira kwakadyarwa alone ko.
Iwakuya kwakadyarwa kuyo. Takatamba alone myo. That's where I met your former teammate, but ndakura manje. Lloyd Chitembwe.
Ukumasadafa?
Ukumasadafa ikoko. Ndikato substitute kwa nyeye kunjengwa na mfano is too hot. So he
wangachiri mjunior.
Angachiri junior, karika 16-year-old I think. And they used to start out.
Ukamwita loni kwi.
Tombe weko.
Was I confusion and faru bebe andomvera takaona loni but takwenda ma juniors ku Blawa kunotamba ma finals. Tato mono trainera pa chimwe ground chekuti ndimuzikazu. Loan community ground. Papa Fields bebe panza. Loan.
Yeah, I think maybe it's because of overuse in Harare, or you have to give credit to the Blawa City Council, because even up to now they do things differently. They are more professional. I remember we went there in 2014 for the youth championships. You know, and because we were so used to leaving our vehicles parked anywhere, zone 6, we would park our vehicle anywhere, but they stopped it. We were told in no uncertain terms, if you don't move your vehicle, this is what will happen. You know, because we had this mentality from Harare that we can do what, but in Blawa, no. Even street sellers, they are more organized in Blawa than in Harare. The city council there, I think I would say it's more organized than
so at Mukai, who did you play with against?
Mukai, against, no, most of them were my teammates. Charles Swelele Mapila, who played for Black Aces, he was part of the team at Mukai High School. And there was Ronnie Kwenda. Kwenda didn't do that well, but at our school, he was very prominent. And then there was Charles Tembeza as a striker. He was one of the notable players that we had. There was a big guy called Bernard. I don't remember his surname now, but he was one of those players who kept the team. And Mukai had this idea of getting players from the community. And then they would call their team Mukai Tigers, because not everyone was a student at Mukai. So we played together with Charles Mapila and Charles Tembeza, and then that guy Bernard. It's only Charles Tembeza and Mapila, I think, who ended up playing in the Premier League in top flight football.
Do you still remember some of the teachers who were coaching you or the headmaster? Because why? I want to honor these guys, because I think they were the first school kutanga kuti izo chikoro chinenge chitotamba league, junior league as a school. Compete on my junior leagues, because we grew up when we started playing under 14. I don't know compete. I don't know Tamane Mukai. I remember KTS. I said out of Tamba. You know Tamane Mukai. No cause him under 14. You don't see more competition. That football culture, it could only have come from the teachers and the headmasters.
Yeah, the headmaster who led it all was a white man called T.A. Magnus.
He was the headmaster.
He was the headmaster of Mukai. He was very passionate about football. He loved football to bits. You know, this is why, in a bid to try and make the team win matches, they would fish out youngsters from the townships and incorporate them into the team, so that the team can, compete against other sides.
This is one of the most popular school in Nigeria.
Yeah, and then those that failed to make it into the first team because of the inclusion of other players would play in the second team. And he made sure we had opponents to play against every week. They would either come to our school or we would go there and so forth. Luckily back then there was a school bus. It wasn't a bus as such. It was a forward truck. But then the canopy. It had a canopy with benches. There were actually seats inside. So we would go to different places. He was switched on. He was switched on. It's a pity that, you know, such eras do come to an end. But
and such people,
yeah, they also come to pass. Exactly. Because I remember meeting one of my teachers, Richard Chiwara, long after I had left school. I was an adult, and he was also going towards his retirement. When we met in town, and that's when he informed me that, look, Mr. Magnus passed on last month and so forth. We took some time, you know, to talk about how good he was. Yeah, he was such a passionate.
Football.
Magnus would find his way there.
Would just have them because I remember I grew up knowing Mukai. It's not that's what we know in Mukai High School.
Yeah. Exactly, and even although we were playing, you know, football, Magnus insisted on us paying full attention to our academic, you know, issues.
Yeah, he is supposed to be buried in the football heroes. Him and that one from Ireland, from Zilikas.
Yes, Chiromo. No, it's not Chiromo.
I'm not sure. Yeah, that one. Yes, Mr. Chiromo.
Mr. Chiromo.
He also deserves a place.
He deserves a place, you know, at the highest table. And it's a pity, you know.
Maybe we should just have our own heroes on paper. We might not have the graves.
Yeah, exactly.
But we put them
such people should be known.
On a piece of paper. Yeah, we should put them on a piece of paper.
Exactly.
Yeah, that you guys, I'm not equal to you.
But you deserve a place. Yeah. And
I think we must do it.
Magnus, being the headmaster, he then allowed was it the deputy to be the coach. Do I remember his name? I think it's Mr. Chigande was one of them, and Shapaidze. Yes, the
memory sharp. I like that. I like that.
Shapaidze would take us through our paces, and then the team flourished.
Yeah.
But it's at Mukai that the current Stanley Katsande that people know was born.
Yeah.
And
tell us.
It was out of mischief.
Tell us about the bed. Now we want to know.
We were in class.
Yeah.
Science class. The teacher being Mr. Chigande. We're doing periscopes. You know, a periscope.
Yeah.
That instrument used by submarines to see what's outside.
Spy.
Yeah. So we actually made it out of wood. It was a long piece with a mirror on one end, right? After we finished it, we could see, this is a periscope. But then I said to myself, how does it work?
Yeah.
Then one of my colleagues said, just take out one end outside and tell us what you are seeing from inside.
Yeah.
And guess who?
Yeah.
But the person who said to me, do it, was Ashton Chueshem Kurutangwa, the guitarist, Thomas Mapfumo.
Oh, I know Ashton.
Yes, my classmate.
Oh, you were a classmate?
Yes, classmates and friends.
Yes,
classmates and friends.
He's a popular guitarist.
He is a popular guitarist.
Is he still alive?
He's late now.
He's late, Ashton, I know Ashton.
He's late. So, you know, he then said, come on, just take it out and tell us what you're seeing. I did that. Then I was looking into the periscope, and there was a match being made where the guys were training. The other guys were training in the school grounds. So I started telling them now that, look, this is Charles Mapila in possession. He plays it to Bernard. Bernard tackled by Ronnie Kwenda. Kwenda clears the ball out of danger. And again, they can't, they couldn't score this one. Then, and I carried on doing. And this was in class.
Yeah.
He had gone to see the headmaster, Mr. Magnus. So when the other, students were cheering me on, I carried on. I was really serious about it and carried on doing it and so forth.
But if you at that time, anyone commentary?
Yeah, I used to listen to the BBC World Service.
Okay.
And I got to know names like Peter Jones. He was the Peter Drury of that time.
Peter Jones.
Peter Jones.
Peter Jones, the DJ.
No, not the DJ.
Oh.
This is an English guy, an English old man.
Peter Jones, Radio 3.
No. This was an English guy who worked for the BBC World
Peter
Service.
Jones,
Peter
the radio
Jones.
driver.
Yeah, not the radio driver. And then Alan Green, some of the old names. So I used to listen to those people,
So
and
Peter
I liked
Jones was the drool of that time.
He was Peter Drury of that time. He was excellent, just like what Peter Drury is doing right now.
Serious?
Yeah, he was that good.
Okay.
Then I just took it into myself, and all I was saying was, look, I can do this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do this. But then we didn't have a platform back then.
So
Well, they were there. The likes of Jonathan Mtsinze were doing it.
Okay.
I think it was Peter Ballantyne. They were doing it,
Okay.
but it was only the big matches.
Only,
Yeah, only. So maybe
Big matches per
in
radio.
3 months, per radio. In 3 months, they would do it once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
and so forth. So that's where it started. And I was busy with my periscope doing commentary of the match that was taking place outside. The other students cheering me up. The teacher came back, and the noise suddenly died down. Now, I didn't realize it early enough, so I carried on with my commentary. So the teacher came, stood just behind me, and then Ashton Chueshe,
the guitarist.
the guitarist just
And how is a guitarist, baby?
Yes, I'll tell you more about it.
Okay.
He gave me a pat on the back, just a slap on the back to say, yeah, you stop it. Yeah. So when I stopped, I looked at Ashton. Ashton stood motionless, but just threw his eyes to the teacher. Yeah. And I turned around, and I saw Mr. Chigande standing there.
Yeah. I bet he was actually impressed this day.
He was.
Yeah.
Because I expected a spanking, but he said, if I were you, I would keep at it.
Wow.
And I was like, is this man serious? I was creating all this commotion, and he's saying that I should keep at it.
But it was not commotion because people were paying attention. Yeah.
So that's when it got into me that, look, I can do this. So I wrote to ZBC. It was RBC.
Serious?
I did when I was in Form 2. I know Kaka, Mischief Gadget was there. I wrote to them and I said, look, if the next time you're hiring people for broadcasting and so forth, I would like to be part of it. Then they answered me to say, okay, just complete your education first, and then you can come and talk to us. Yeah. But then I forgot about it for a while.
Even after completing your education?
Even after completing my education, I was focusing on other things now.
Okay.
By the time I was doing Form 3, 4, you then start to think of how am I going to survive after school?
Yeah.
Then I realized, well, there are engineers who make a lot of money. There are accountants who do this and so forth. And I said, no, I want to be a mechanical engineer. Yeah. So I decided to go that route. Went through the Harare Poly, completed my studies there. Then I started working as an engineer in industry.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it surprised a lot of people that someone in engineering is busy doing journalistic work.
So you stopped playing football?
For a while, but then I started again with Crown Cork. When I joined Crown Cork...
Muhammad engineer?
Yeah.
Management of brain. It is an interesting story, Stanley Katsande. Now we have heard how Stanley Katsande, the one we know, was born at Mugai High with a periscope.
Losing the person I loved the most was one of the hardest things I've ever had to face.
And because I was away from home, it made it much more difficult.
That is when I saw how important it is to have a friend.
A friend to ease the burden.
A friend to take care of things when you can't.
A friend to help you get home.
my sister Mata boss, how are you? I want to go. I was put already one boss.
Right, kune masawira tiri pano panyaradzo airport lounge. Saka tiri kuti kune vari kumburuka vachibuda nevari kumburuka vachipinda tinokutambira ine maoko maviri pa lounge pedu.
And also don't forget to get a Sawira International plan today.
Nampla.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes, guys, welcome back. Stanley Katsande in the studio. Yes, the veteran radio broadcaster, radio commentator, and as you know, these days he's also an anchor for ZBC whenever there are big tournaments in Zimbabwe, football tournaments like the AFCON, the World Cup, you name it. He is one of the anchors for ZBC as well. Very, very experienced broadcaster he is. Weston, now you finished school, you did your engineering, poly, now you're working, then you said you came back to football again.
Yeah, I came back to football, played for a while with Crown Cork. Then during one of the weekends, you know, I couldn't attend the match because we had to play with Crown Cork. And somebody had a radio. I think we were playing in Dema. So they were doing commentary. It was Charles Evans Mambara who were on radio.
Oh, the boys
Rangarapinda manje. But I still had it inside me to say, look, I can do it. Then Farai Mungazi's voice came up and it said, if there's anyone out there who wants to be a commentator, write to us on this address. Oh. So I did that.
Farai Mungazi,
we do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So he wrote. So there was a huge response. And at that time, they said, ZBC told us that there were 450 people
who applied.
We wrote some tests of football laws, the techniques and everything. I was in the top 7. And the top 7 was taken to Rufaro for auditions. It was Dynamos versus Black Mambas. So I must say I was fortunate because the other guys who were made to start, I think the game was still starting. There was no excitement and so forth. So when it came to my turn now, the game had livened up. We were in the second half, and then I joined commentary. And with Peter Jones in my mind.
Oh, that Peter Jones, not the DJ.
Not the DJ. That Peter Jones was in my mind. This is how he does it. So I started, doing it. Now, the main thing that impressed ZBC was that my commentary was different.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't
because like everyone else was trying to copy either Charles Mabika or Evans Mambara.
Yeah.
Then I came with a unique style. And they said, right, we'll settle here. And on that day, what it made it also, better for me was that's when a goal was scored.
Wow.
Yeah, and I followed it up from the other players, Charles Chigwa creating the opportunity for Edim Chongwe.
I was about to ask you, which game was this? Which game?
Yeah.
Which game was this?
It was Dynamos versus Black Mambas. And then Edim Chongwe scored a screamer.
Edim Chongwe?
Yes. He scored a screamer with his left foot.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
So Dynamos to win 1-0.
Wow.
And, they liked the way that I carried that goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Farai Mungazi just came when I was still in commentary, whispered in my ear, after this, don't go away.
Wow.
I want you to stay here, don't go away.
I love commentary.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I grew up listening to this,
radio commentary is good. It gives you the freedom to do what we call coloring in. You can start talking about certain things that the people listening to you are not seeing when the situation is boring and so forth.
Yeah.
Unlike on television, No, you can't lie.
You can't.
You can't lie.
You can't exaggerate.
You can't exaggerate.
And make it look like the game is
But
interesting.
radio now, because they are not there, you can try to make them smell the green grass on the turf.
Because my game is angry, my thriller.
Yes,
I'm gonna
they were
game
all
is thriller by radio.
Yeah, because even during our training, because I must admit at that time ZBC took their time to train us.
Oh, you actually went for training
yes,
after they took you in.
I still have my notes with me. There's an example where they said, look, if you are reporting about cows and you are inside the kraal, make the people smell the dung.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how impactful you
The
should
people
be.
you are telling about the crow.
So tell it like it is. That's right.
Right.
Make them visualize, and
I'm
I'm glad you said we were watching football on radio.
Exactly.
That's the comment.
We watched the football on radio.
That's exactly what they said.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I then applied, went for auditions, and then they were happy. That's Faram Gazi, Brighton Matere, Colin Harvey. Those were the bosses there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Colin Harvey, the newsreader.
The newsreader.
Oh.
He was the head. He was the one above Faram Gazi. Then Brighton Matere was at the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think he was the director.
CEO at that time.
I know they used to have my general managers.
General manager,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And during our, we used to go on Saturdays just to perfect our game.
Yeah.
We had what we called playback sessions. If you did commentary, you'd come on a Saturday, listen to yourself, and then you remove all the high spots and so forth. You see, this is not right. Let me use this style and so forth until you perfect your act. And it worked because at first you hate listening to yourself. Any commentator will tell you this. They hate listening to themselves. But I got to a stage whereby, I said, I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I like what I'm hearing.
Why you
Yeah.
beating
This
and all
is-
that, and also the teaching, the criticism, constructive criticism
Yes.
coming from your producers, your fans even.
Yeah, that's when Colin Harvey asked me after one of the playback sessions, what do you think about that? And I said, and I'm beginning to like what I'm hearing. Then he said, yes, you have a right, my friend.
Yeah.
Let's go and do the work. So with the backing of the bosses and everyone, I felt very confident.
Yeah.
So I started commentary every Saturday and Sunday. Right. What used to happen is I would come in as a supporting act.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I used to do all the games on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, number two. Then you are the third.
Charles and Evans were concentrating on the big games.
Oh yeah.
On Saturdays, only the small teams, the Mambas, the Black Aces, and so forth. So I did that for quite some time. I think 1990, most of the time, those are the games that I was covering. Then when I was also elevated to, the big guys, I started off with the Black Rhinos and Dynamos.
Yeah.
That was a serious game, that one. And after that game, then everybody started talking about, hey, there's a new voice on radio. I was in a lift and people were talking about it. So I just kept quiet. Yeah. Someone is saying,
they don't know the person.
How does he sound? Is he like Charles Mabig? I said, no. He's different. He's got his own style. He follows the game. He doesn't try to exaggerate and so forth.
But you were exaggerating.
I was exaggerating. They didn't say it. I said, this is nice. So I would only tell them when I'm about to drop off.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them, guys, the guy you were talking about is me. Thanks very much for your comments.
You had arrived.
Yeah.
You had arrived now.
After I arrived, then I would sneak and leave.
Wow.
And one thing, publicity it makes life difficult.
Yeah,
it takes away your private life.
How did you take it when now you are now?
It was very difficult for me at
on
first.
Saturdays and Sundays.
It was difficult at first because you know I wanted a quiet life of just getting there quietly, do my thing, and walk away. But
hakuna quiet life.
hakuna.
Quiet life.
Yeah, it was worsened when I was doing these commentaries. I was elevated to do the big games. So one big game came along, Zimbabwe versus Angola, at the National Stadium. I was supposed to do it. Then came a radio station from South Africa, Channel Africa. They wanted a commentator. So the bosses at NBC looked at it and they said, no, let's give this guy to do this game for Channel Africa.
Channel Africa.
So I did the game for Channel Africa alongside the guy who is doing Supersport at the moment, Kevin Evans.
Oh, okay. All right.
He had never done commentary before. So but they'd already sent him here.
Okay.
So he told the BBC, no, I can't do it. Can you give me somebody? So they gave him me. I was there with him, explaining exactly what we do. Then he said, no, I'm not going to do commentary. Let me do the analysis.
Oh, yeah.
I did the game up to half time. The manager and Joburg, because Channel Africa was part of SABC.
Okay, yeah.
So the manager in Joburg was listening from home. He drove from home straight to the studio.
To Auckland Park?
Yeah, Auckland Park. Half time, he shouts in my ear, Stanley, don't go away, stay there. So I said, fine. After the game, I kept my cans on. He came back, Red, are you there? I said, yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
Fine. What do you think of covering matches at the Africa Cup of Nations? And I said, that would be the pinnacle of my career.
Yeah.
So you love it? I said, I do.
Yeah.
Then he said, fine. We're going to be hiring 10 people. You're top of the list.
Wow.
And I can tell you that was...
Which year was this?
1994, towards the end in November. When we played, was it? Yeah,
So
1994.
it was the qualifiers for...
The qualifiers.
For the 94.
For the 96.
For the 96.
Yes.
Oh, the South African one.
South African one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
okay,
South African one where Zimbabwe had a heartbreak with Lesotho withdrawing and then creating a problem. You know, all the points were removed from us.
Yeah, Lesotho killed us.
That one.
We were knocked out by Malawi.
Yeah.
We drew against Malawi.
We drew against Malawi 1-1. Yeah.
National Stadium when we needed to win.
We needed to win, yeah. I think this is
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Then the match ended. My first Africa Cup of Nations.
You went.
I
South
went
Africa.
because they came back to me. We had exchanged numbers and
yeah.
addresses. So definitely they came back and they asked me, come to South Africa. I went there. They booked me into a hotel.
For the same channel Africa?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the whole tournament.
Wow. Which hotel? I stayed in South Africa for a long time.
It was it the Holiday Inn?
It was in
Senton.
University.
It was Senton.
Oh, that one, the blue glass
Yes.
one. It under the bridge.
Yes.
Off ramp.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
right. That's
All
right. That's
okay.
where I
All
stayed.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I stayed because Kevin Evans was also there. So they said you should stay in the same hotel.
Wow.
So
International.
international.
My rands and my US dollars.
Varans. And you know, I could see that thing.
But tell me, US dollar ngari chiri Zuda kamuno.
We didn't even think
Imagine,
talk about
do you
it.
know what is Zuda?
Yeah.
Oh, but US dollar so usina chukiri.
Nobody would accept it.
Even kana marands. Why you talking about crosser now border chete because I read about
yeah, you would have to wait for someone going to South Africa or to the United States to accept that dollar.
Imagine.
I wish we could bring that times back because
You know, my coins, my rands high. Taito atambisa chabuta.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
I don't know impact.
So I went there and I was fortunate to be given the first opening match. Yeah, that's South Africa versus Cameroon.
Wow.
And what happened is Channel Africa managed to set up early. They connected, the lines were clear and everything. So BBC and Channel Africa were next to us. They were struggling to connect. And yet we were already in commentary.
In commentary, yeah.
So they ended up asking Channel Africa if they could get a feed from us.
Oh, you now go straight to
Yeah.
BBC. Wow.
So one, Channel Africa, their listeners were listening to me. BBC, all of them were listening to me.
Wow.
And soon after that one, the Channel Africa guys, they called me to a meeting at SABC, Auckland Park.
Auckland Park,
Yeah.
yeah.
I went there. They said, my friend, we want you to continue doing this for us.
Yeah.
So I was working for Channel Africa and Canal France International
Wow.
at the same time. So I covered the whole tournament.
I'm my friends with
I got one of my friends, the one in Greece. But the most interesting part is that after that, Channel Africa then said, for our future tournaments, we're going to be working with you.
Yeah.
That's how I managed to land the opening at Canal France International, which then took me to Tunisia, to Egypt. But after Egypt...
Oh, you were doing commentary for
Yes.
all these tournaments?
Yes.
Wow.
I was doing it for all these tournaments.
You went with us to Tunisia in
Yeah.
2004.
Yeah.
You were doing it for Canal
I was
France.
doing for Canal France. You guys came back
In
and I
Mgatozana
stayed. And then Zoba was all over me about the Forex. Where am I going to put it? I'll be waiting for him at the airport. He must declare it. Yeah,
Gentleman.
Zoba.
Zobandel.
You know the funny character on
the
Power
comedian.
FM.
Oh, I did trade
Yes.
foreign currency.
Yeah, but he was just being funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just being funny.
No, that was fantastic.
Then a few years down the line, we had the World Cup in Africa.
Yeah, that World Cup in Africa, I'll come back to you. Pamaemberega ninyika pesa apa mina na Tunisia, mina na South Africa, mina na ko graft no. Over.
You know what my bosses used to... I was now doing television.
Oh, it now
Yeah.
engineering.
Yeah, what happened is... No, engineering, I was still at work.
Where?
I was working for Baiko or Randall's.
Yeah, no one talks about it.
Right. Because
all over the world.
Randall's, Mavet,
Yeah.
so they were watching television.
Yeah.
And seeing one of their workers there was the best thing ever.
Wow.
It was so exciting. I told them about the South African trip. And they said, my friend, don't worry. What we will do, you'll get your leave, go to South Africa.
On full pay.
Full pay.
Wow.
Then tell your wife to come here. She would sign a form so that she's able to use my company vehicle.
Wow.
Then, because my wife couldn't drive, they allocated a driver for her.
Wow.
If she wants to go to town,
Because when I celebrate,
they'll call, and then the driver straight away would go there. Move around town with her, doing her shopping or whatever, going to see her sisters. Then, because the driver was told, you see, because each time he moved around, he said, I drive Stanley Katsande's wife. So, yeah.
So driver,
I got to pinda. You see. So, yeah. Then they didn't have a problem with that.
Okay, no, that's where I wanted. So the World Cup.
The World Cup.
The World Cup.
Yeah, the World Cup again. Well, but we've got the Africa Cup of Nations, the All Africa Games and so forth. Yeah, it was still Randall's. Even when I went to another company, and at the bottom of my CV, I always indicate that look, this is what I do. Yeah. I don't drink, I don't smoke. And if I'm going... Yeah, and don't want boring. Then everybody will stop talking about bus. They want to know more about how do I do it and so forth. So I joined Cleco and Timbercraft, and they were also
happy.
Yeah, very amenable. They would allow me to go and do my thing. Yeah. So I went to Tunisia. That was the same thing. Yeah. Tunisia came about again after some years, because the Canal France didn't get rights for 1998.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they didn't get. When they finally got the rights, they then called me, to say, look, We got a tournament in Tunisia. Do you want to come? I said, oh yes, I'm always ready. So I flew on my way to Tunisia, I flew from here to Kenya. I was supposed to take a flight, Swiss Air, to go to Switzerland so that I could
From
connect. No, from Kenya. From here, I took Air Zimbabwe.
Okay.
To
the one that used to go to Nairobi.
Yeah, to Nairobi. Yeah. From Nairobi, I was supposed to connect with Swiss Air. It was leaving at 10 o'clock. And then they denied. So then they said, but you don't have a visa to enter Tunisia. I tried to say, no, I will get it at the port of entry. They refused. So I was stuck at the airport now. In Nairobi, from a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The game was going to start on Saturday, and I was billed to do the commentary on a Saturday. So, hey, we were communicating back and forth with the bosses at Canal France. Then, I'd run out of money. And luckily, there were some South Africans who were coming from India. There was a cricket match there. So I was wearing my scarf, Zimbabwean scarf. And one of the guys said,
Zimbabwean scarf?
Yes, the Warriors one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Warriors one. That's what I was wearing.
The latest scarf?
No, not the latest.
You can remember ahead of time.
But it was similar in design.
You were ahead of time.
Yeah. So these guys were attracted to it. They came to me and we started talking, and I said, guys, I better tell you my story here. I'm stuck here. I'm supposed to go to Tunisia. I've run out of cash. I'm supposed to be phoning these guys and so then all those people had shillings with them. Excess. Angamazuda. So they offloaded them all onto me. Yeah. I think I ended up with something like 300 and something because after getting the shillings, I went to a bureau de change. Then they gave me dollars.
Wow.
All of a sudden, I now have over $320 something.
Wow.
So we started communicating, we continued, and then they bought another ticket for me on British Airways. Yeah. So British Airways took me to... Yeah.
Okay.
It took me to Heathrow. Then from Heathrow, I connected with Tunis Air. I arrived in the morning, around 10 o'clock. And these guys, they were already waiting for me. Took me from the airport straight to the stadium.
Wow.
Yeah, and everybody here, they were a bit worried to say, if I didn't arrive, nobody was willing to take up the commentary.
Yeah.
So
Canal France in
Africa. So because most of the guys who were there were French-speaking guys. There were many English-speaking guys. They wanted an English speaker, being an African, a black one.
Yeah.
So when I turned now to go to my position in the commentary box, the other guys were so happy. I just heard, yeah. I was like,
this is Provo.
What's this all about? They're happy to see you because they didn't want to go and do that. I said, okay. So I even still remember it was the DR Congo versus Tunisia. Yeah. That was the opening match. And it surprised a few people back home because I didn't tell my bosses at ZBC that this is where I'm going.
Oh, you were now at ZBC?
Yeah, I was at ZBC this time. But when I realized the lists were done without my name, I just decided to do my own thing. So
was ZBC and your list commentary?
Yes. Because Zimbabwe had qualified.
Yeah, you were not involved.
Yeah, I was not involved.
So you had one over there, music.
Yeah.
What did they do? What did they do? Did they make it a story?
The lady in charge back then was very furious with me.
Who was the lady in charge?
Josephine Zulu.
Oh, Josephine Zulu.
She felt that I had undermined her. But I went there and I explained.
Yeah.
It's Josephine, I was there. I communicated. You didn't pick me. I'm a commentator, so I must find work. Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, it's part-time.
Yeah, it's part-time, and that's what I did. So, yeah, it went very well because the feedback, each time I spoke to my wife, I also spoke to, was it Robson Mandu who was getting the news?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from me to tell him about what is happening. Yeah, they were reporting back to say, look, people are really impressed with what I'm doing and so forth. So that was one of my memorable, trips.
You're actually one of our foreign based.
Exactly, I was like,
one of our foreign based.
One of foreign based commentators.
Foreign based.
Then
that's why you are on the show. A legend.
Sure, it's also good for me to tell this to the nation.
Exactly.
Because the only people who know about this are my family and close friends.
Now the whole
of Zimbabwe should know that this is the road that I traveled. Then
you
after,
talked about the World Cup,
Right. After Tunisia, we went to Egypt. This time, everybody at ZBC knew that I'm going.
You were going.
So I said, don't include me in your list because
don't worry.
Canal France had already said, I want to get the euro. I want to get the euro. So we went to Egypt. It was another memorable trip, and I still remember, being in Alexandria. It's a nice place.
Very nice.
That was a nice time. We had a hotel overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. The view was excellent.
Alexandria is beautiful.
Seeing those whales, the orcas, the sharks. The way they shoot from the water and throw themselves into. When it's real. You used to watch this on television. But
now
this time,
them doing
this is real.
No, it's beautiful.
It's happening. It's beautiful. I love
that.
I loved it. And then the trip to the Suez Canal, and as well, it was wonderful, memorable, trip. Then the big one, the World Cup. I was based in Bulawayo, and I had spoken to them.
You're based in Bulawayo?
Yeah, I was working for a furniture manufacturing company, Lifestyle Furnitures now.
Oh, okay. You had left ZBC?
No. ZBC is still there. My full-time job is
it stayed
as an engineer. As an engineer, I was employed as a manager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you would leave your job with company A and join company B. ZBC, I'm still there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I went and got a job in Bulawayo.
Okay.
So I worked there in the whole of 2010. And during that time, I was talking to BBC. It was about, the BBC was always criticizing Zimbabwe, the situation and so forth. They would get a story like a girl would say, my life is in danger if I go back to Zimbabwe. The president wants to kill me. And I said to BBC,
Asylum, what?
Yeah, and I said to the BBC, you guys must be clowns. Here is a 23-year-old girl claiming that she was friends with the president. And I said, our president here moves around in a motorcade. Even the ministers, I don't think that they've got a relationship like what she's describing. But you guys are buying it. Hey, can't you see you're obviously lying? I criticized them so much. And they got to the extent of inviting me to join a radio debate about politics.
Oh, yeah?
I used to kill the guys, I used to... And one thing...
You could have had a career.
I could have had a career. You know what happened then? The producer of that program, a white guy, he's very objective.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember his name, but he was some
Which
Johnson.
Is a good thing.
Yeah. And he said, look, if I lived in Zimbabwe, I would have wanted a president like that, who defended my territory the way your president is doing. This time we're talking about the late Robert Mugabe. So he would give me all the facts, everything, so that I could hammer. There were some professors who came on radio, claiming that they cannot come back to Zimbabwe for fear of being, persecuted or something like that. So live on air, I used to blast them left, right, and center, telling the producer that, look, I was parked at Queensdale Shopping Center. And I told him, I haven't arrived home. I'm parked here at a shopping center, and I know that if I don't have an accident, I'm assured that I'll drive back home and be with my family. And then tomorrow, I'll drive to work again and come back. These people are lying to you. There is no war here. There's nothing. You see? So we got to know each other. We would talk, and then he said, "What else do you do?" And I said, "I do soccer commentary. I'm also a television presenter and things like that." And I think this time, I would say thanks to young men like Francis Nyamtsamba, because he came on board as a youngster, and he would always invite me to come and cover
My
you know,
games
my
on
games on
television.
television. He was the producer and so forth. Howard Msonza as well.
He's also the producer of this show, for those that don't know.
Okay.
He's actually also the producer of this particular show.
Oh yeah. I got it when the call came through. I didn't know that he was doing this.
Yeah.
Then they got so surprised. Said, "Okay, let me talk to the guys in sport." When they got to the guys in sport, then they bumped into Farai Mungazi.
He was now at BBC.
He was now at BBC and said, "Oh yes, can I have his numbers?" Farai got my numbers, gave it to his secretary. The call came. I remember the lady called Alison Hall, came on a Friday afternoon, inviting me to the World Cup in South Africa.
Wow.
And I said,
2010.
"Thank you, Lord.
The African World Cup.
Thank you, Lord. This is the dream of every soccer commentator, to one day call the World Cup final."
Wow.
So I was there in South Africa for a full 6 weeks.
My rands.
Yes. At this time, it's my
My
euros.
euros.
My euros.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah, BBC, yeah.
Wow.
My euros, but spending money, we got it
I was
in
tempted
pounds.
to ask you
Yeah.
how much per day. But anyway, I'll let it go.
Yeah, it was quite substantial.
Okay, it's
you know,
okay.
yeah, sure. Then, yeah, we covered that World Cup. It was a wonderful, time because I flew to nearly every destination.
Yeah.
Because the same thing that happened with Channel Africa when I opened the match, South Africa versus Mexico. Yeah.
Oh, you did the South Africa versus
So
Mexico.
that's the very first one.
Rasipiwe Shabalala.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that goal again came when I was on air. And the boss, at halftime,
Yeah. How much did you scream?
that I think the loudest scream that I've ever done.
But
That was a
He hit
beautiful
that
shot.
ball.
It was a
he
beautiful
caught
shot.
it very well.
At halftime, the boss came and he said again to me, "Stanley, I'm going to tell you something." I said, "Right, can I hear it?" He said, "Yeah, tell your wife you won't be coming back home anytime soon." Wow. And I said, "Okay, does that mean I'm going all the way to the final?"
Yeah.
Not only going all the way to the final, you are going to do the final.
Wow.
This was after 45 minutes. He listened to my commentary and he said, "No, this guy should cover." And, I used to say I go to Bloemfontein to cover a match. In the evening, there will be a match at Soccer City. They would fly me back from there to come and do the game at Soccer City. At some time, I couldn't tell where I was.
Wow.
Because of the crisscross.
Crisscross.
Yeah.
For those youngsters, for 2000, there's Soccer City. Soccer City no FNB Stadium. That's FNB Stadium, that's Soccer City.
Then, we covered all the matches. I think I left very few. Cape Town, I was just in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I flew in the evening, went to the match, right? Then after the match, back again. And the next day, I was in Rustenburg. Then the next day, I'm in Durban. I went all over the South African, stadium.
Remember the tourism? Tourism.
There was.
Studio to studio.
There was some time.
Yeah.
Especially when we went to Port Elizabeth. After the match, Brazil versus Netherlands, we had a 2-day break.
Oh, yeah.
So,
very
we
nice,
managed to
beautiful
wind
coastal
down.
scene.
I never knew that you will get tired of, talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You got tired.
I really got tired. I needed the break.
No, I know.
So,
Yeah.
then finally, into the final itself, Spain versus Netherlands. Yeah, I was in. But this time I didn't capture the winning goal. My colleague, Pius Edwards, captured the winning goal. Yes, but it was a wonderful experience. I really enjoyed it, and I said thank you, Lord, for giving me the opportunity of calling the World Cup final. Because
that was brilliant.
That was
a beautiful
brilliant.
final. I was in South Africa at the time as well. I didn't watch the final, though. I only watched 2 games. But the final was outstanding. The South Africans came in numbers.
Yeah,
they supported, and the organization was.
It was
out of this
brilliant.
world, yeah.
It was brilliant. I liked the music as well, because they brought 2 of my favorite singers, Shakira and the one who sang it's Victory Time or what. This black guy, I think he's having problems with the American authorities. He sang a beautiful song there, and I really, enjoyed it. I said, yeah, this is life.
And you came back to Zimbabwe.
Then I came back to Zimbabwe.
The levels.
They had changed now. Yeah, everybody respected you, and look, I began to enjoy more of my work.
And you were still in Blair.
I'm still in Blawayo up to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Then I came back to Harare
and
continued to work with ZBC.
Yeah.
And of course, my full-time job was always in engineering, manufacturing.
But they chopped off radio commentary.
Yeah, from me. Yeah. Well, there were others. There are others who were doing it. But now maybe it's because of our our immigration from. When I say our, it's me and Charles. We are the leading lights, and then we were moved from radio to television. It took the gloss away from radio commentary. People followed us.
Radio died.
It died. It's very unfortunate. I feel I was saying to Charles, can't we make a comeback?
No,
just to try
No, what I want to hold you culpable of, the 2 of you, because I can't speak for about Evans Maba.
Yeah, he's late now,
So rest in peace. The 2 of you, you didn't groom the people to come follow your footsteps. You didn't have understudies, my prodigies. Well, good good guys. Maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's also vision.
It's the system should have been.
The system didn't have that vision to actually see. Good, now we are going to this level. We need young and upcoming. Up and coming youngsters, just like what they do with the DJs. They always a new crop coming in, the journalists or a new crop coming in. They didn't do that with radio commentary.
No, I think they did.
With you too.
No, I think they did.
Nah,
because
they
brought in guys like there's Achimundawa, Chamustole in radio. But I think you are now looking at
the level
because. With commentary, I think what me and Charles and Evans did is we boosted the enthusiasm in youngsters about commentary. They liked it, but then
football.
It didn't exist in them because this is not about training.
Yeah.
This is like, it's not like football where you can try to get another Alois Munjira. Even if they try in football, they won't get another Alois. Someone can try to imitate. We were talking, at the top of the show that, look, today's players are not as good as those in the past. So I think it's because life has changed so much. Because back then you guys would spend much time, you would leave home at 8 or even earlier in the morning, go out, play football for the whole day, and come back at 7 o'clock. In covered in dust.
Yeah, but on the radio side, we watched so many matches on radio. We knew so many players on radio. You would actually visualize Ali Saidi. You would visualize Oscar Onias Msana. I never met him. I never saw it. But he was so Epson Shugamguyo. We didn't know these guys. But they were very close to them. We knew them intimately. Those guys no, we knew them. They were like our brothers. We like you do not want every day in the street, but they were on a radio. So that that love for football from radio, because ndosangana nemunhu ine ndikaenda kana kuonde valley my home madhara atokura madhara hanzi atinambobvira tapinda munhu but they know me so well.
Yeah, because of
bhora rainzwika everywhere in every part of the country.
Exactly.
Vaiona bhora on the radio but it died. But
Yeah,
I think it died with you too. Charles and Stanley, when you left radio.
Yeah, we left a void there. And like I said, we are not products of training.
And even Eric Knight. Eric Knight was also good.
Yeah.
Eric Knight and Ezra. And those guys, they went with their staff to UK, and that was the end of Radio 2 commentary.
But when you talk about Radio 2 guys, my commentary locally was inspired by Lisbon Nassasar.
And this
He was full
Choga
of
Chatong.
Yeah. Choga Chatong and so. But the style that I used, I just took what Lisbon Nassasara did in Shona and made it into English, and then used Peter Jones' approach.
Okay.
Then it became so unique.
Yeah.
And during my early days as a commentator, my biggest fan was Lisbon Nassasara. He didn't know that I'm copying him.
Oh yeah.
But every time we would go there, he would say, Mvana, come along. Let me teach you this and that and so forth.
Uniqueness in
Lisbon Nassasara.
I once did one commentary game. I once did one commentary, one game. Dynamos versus Capes United, ku Baba Fields. That semi-final, Mbada Diamonds, and people thought it was Charles Mabig. Because I was copying. I was copying Charles Mabig, and I thought I did well because people were actually thinking. I think Blachale was going to move blues I thought, I was, but it was so much fun.
Yeah,
so I can imagine your fun because I never did it professionally. You did it professionally, and I enjoyed it. It was lovely. So what are you doing now?
Right now, I do manufacture my own stuff. I said an engineer. An engineer is someone who can make things.
Yeah.
So I'm making lounge suites.
Oh, you do.
Yeah, I make lounge suites at home, and then I'm into farming as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm into farming as well. No, kuno tunori ma potatoes. It's like 40 hectares, the potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and those that
You're a potato farmer.
Potato farmer.
Wow.
I think my harvest standing up from next month.
Yeah.
To out marketing say and so forth.
Samasofa munoita kupiwa design munanoyazoisa order.
Yeah.
Then you can order then
to
guys, ngamira masofa uyu vasikazande varipo masofa mungoende design rako iyoyo kana ngotora picture kwanongouire masofa wangobvaire wangoti vasikazande ndigadzirire sofa rakadai so zvatoita namba munotsvaka kuna producer Francis Nyamutsamba munongozimusoka ned Francis Nyamutsamba anokupai nhamba dzamukumastate so mukumastate in your time, not go foreign based, in your time, muno Zimbabwe, muno, you're doing commentary, football commentary. Mchiona ndimanya toona mimi ndima fans yaje kwenda mafanzi kuye kutano ngosha mari kwenda kubora even ndima fans yameona bora makona bores from the time yamakatanga commentator bora anditi
yes
kusvika esnes toda kuti mundise 11 the best 11 in my team yakuti team yangu vanhu vandakaona vachirova bhora time matanga kukommentata bhora imini makatanga kukommentata chi 1990 right
1990
yes thereabout
ndo zvakanyatsotanga
yes muchikommentata bhora tauri munotangire na best goalkeeper angari muZimbabwe I would say Jafet Mparutsa yeah,
Jafet Mparutsa right back then, I can do not pama teams angari po. There are some.
All right. Okay. Let me incorporate everybody here.
Everybody, including the 80s.
Guvira mama zvaro imimi ona bhora mchisapota bhora imimi ndoda ndipe itobi 11 nokuti zvinazonakidza manje.
If you do that then it will knock out. Then Bruce Grobler
would
be number one.
Did you watch him play though?
Yes, he played for Kelly's.
Oh, you
as well as
actually watched him?
Highlanders. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, because
Okay,
Bruce
Bruce
is
Crowley.
more or less my age.
But Jafet anoramba ka Jafet.
Yeah, anoramba.
But Jafet
because-
kunzwe. But Jafet anoramba. Vanoti Bruce angazi kunzi.
Japheth was
Vanoti
very
Bruce
good
angazi
locally.
kunzi. Okay.
From my local teams, Japheth were very good.
Yeah.
But when it came to international, I think it's because the class goes up.
Oh, yeah,
They took advantage of his height.
Oh, okay.
I remember the Nigerians. They came here. Was it Shooting Stars? They managed to get easy goals.
Na
But,
Bokandi.
Yeah, they
Alright,
would
so
breach
Bruce
his-
Grobler, number 2.
Bruce Grobler.
Right back.
I like
That is the right back. Because number 2 to my balance there.
but that's
back.
what everyone understands. Right back would be, it's a toss-up between James Takawada and Graham Boyle. But I would put James Takawada because Boyle was in Janamuona.
This is true with Amagawan, but it's okay. James Takawada.
James Takawada.
Left back, number 3.
Left back would obviously go to Oliver Katea. I think,
Flying Sauce.
since
Okay.
he occupied that position,
Alright.
no one has ever managed to replicate
Number 4.
Four
Number
as
4
centre back.
center back. 2
Centre back.
Yeah.
I would pick Effet Lungu
Effet Lungu.
ahead of Sunday. I
but
was
not
surprised, because now, in my view, Mishek Marimo was more commanding at centre back than his
Sunday
elder
Star.
brother. Yeah.
Really?
And
a lot of
Effet
people
Lungu,
will argue with you.
they will.
I don't know. I think they will.
That's where the beauty of football comes in.
Yeah. So
You
it's
never
Effet Lungu
agree.
and Mishek
And
Marimo.
Mishek Marimo
Chizama.
as centre backs.
Center backs.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Then in midfield.
Number 6.
Number 6.
Midfield. Yeah.
David Yogi.
Left
We'll
Manigora.
take it.
But Zephyr number 4. So
Yeah, Zephyr got number 4, but he played as a...
white number 4 ndiye defensive.
Yeah, ndiye angari
defense.
defense. Yeah.
Okay.
Then
tati defensive and
defensive.
2 but muZimbabwe ne 4-3-3
the 4-3-3, yes.
1-1.
Yeah, 4-3-3.
2 my midfield
My
number 8 and number
midfielders,
10.
right. And Totangana number 10, I would give it to Archford Chimtanda.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Then the other
Cheuchi.
attacking player, Cheuchi.
And
The other
number
attacking
8,
player, Sticks Mtizwa.
Stanford Mtizwa.
I
Alright.
think if there was a ball artist in Zimbabwe, this guy,
He was an
he
artist.
was an artist.
Yeah, akamboya pano vechirungu vataura vamboita ma-abs vachiri mupana vakaona vanhu nema-abs chete kusvika unogoyesa.
Yeah, and I'm glad kuti akazotamba after a time and akauya kuzotamba under Haydon. And he managed to, exhibit his skills and everyone akabvuma kuti
social team.
yes, everybody agreed that yes,
He was
way ahead of others. So I would say Yogi, Sticks, and Archford.
And
it's a
number
pity
9.
I'm having to leave out Willard
No,
Kumar and so forth. Then
number 9.
Kuma striker, number 9 goes to, I saw Peter Nyamazwangu Bichana, but Sheikh Mentauro.
Sheikh Mentauro.
Sheikh Mentauro,
Chinyariri.
yeah.
Right wing.
Right wing, I would give it to Moses Chunga.
Okay.
Yeah, Moses Chunga.
Left wing.
Left wing, I would give it to Peter Ndlovu.
Peter Ndlovu. Hey, yakwana na team.
Yakwana team.
Mdara muri old school.
Yeah. Because after that, Alois, after that,
Yeah.
we never had my players who would set the scene alight.
Yeah.
Today, and I don't think Ipana Tambo Fura 14 goals per season.
But mdara zakauya tikabvura kaizvozvo.
Yeah.
Ndaraterwa 20 plus per season. Amwari avapana vemazuva ano haya kupinze muklasi iyoyo mdara vemazuva ano vanga vaise kwavo vega.
Yo, wakaona Sheikman achitamba bhora iyoyo.
Ataikwikwidzana nasheki magosa vairova vanhu vatairova kaizvozvo.
Vasamwari sekisoka.
Aiwa musatise mutimu irore. Musatise mutimu irore. Nyasha Mishegu vakarova magosa. Ana Alfred Mgay, ana Norman Maroto.
Yes.
Apana vakauya vachirova manamba.
But I was also looking at
rakazouya iri ndo
internationally. These people I'm talking about, they excelled.
Yeah.
Because you'd find I remember tichitamba rimwe game kunationals kurufaro. Bruce aigona kubata bhora ne1 hand so ubva arikanda kuseri against Malawi tatakaibaya 4-0 kutaura kuti you can take another corner but hapana zvamunoita.
Wow.
Yeah, kunyazoribata soka orikanda zvakene pamusoro so kuti get another corner. Yeah, That's how confident he was.
Yakasimba zvayo. Akode vamwe vacho ndakuvaona zvangu vachitamba nana Graham Boyle
Graham Boyle ndatozomsira zvekuti it won't make sense, but he was
kutopera. But the Plastic, I watched him. Because now the junior Black Rhinos, yes, I agree with you. I watched them. We watched Moses Chunga, obviously Peter Ndovu, and Sheikh Mentauro. I watched Sheikh Mentauro as well. We played against each other. I got to pay but it was his last season. But anyway, Mustard, thank you so much for coming to the show to tell us the story. What a story. The foreign based journalism, the foreign based broadcasting. You are not the only foreign based. We currently have a foreign based. Steve Vickers.
Yes, Steve Vickers.
Steve Vickers is doing exactly what I was doing. Exactly. Yes, but he's doing it for TV. At the moment, he's also exactly. So me and Steve Vickers,
I think we covered all of it.
Congratulations.
And I'm happy with the journey that I took.
Thank you so much for coming to the show. I really did enjoy this episode, this show. It was fantastic. Guys, we've run out of time. This was Stanley Katsande here on the Nyaradzo, in touch with the legend. Yes, he is indeed a legend. Very few, two of them, foreign-based journalists, foreign-based broadcasters. Yeah, he was going out there, even Ajiri Mazuda, he was doing it here. So thank you very much for coming. Nyaradzo Group powering this show. Let's meet again next week when we bring you another Zimbabwe footballing legend to come and share with us their footballing journey. My name is Alois Bunjira. See you next week. Ta-ta, ta-ta. It was week ahead, guys.